You're on break from college and decide that now is the perfect time to get some on-the-job experience. Your uncle has a friend who has a friend that's got a great entry-level position for you in an exciting and up-and-coming company, and you jump on the opportunity. Next thing you know, you're training to be a radar technician aboard a Starkiller base, and as part of your orientation, you have to undergo a 2-hour class on how this is totally not the Death Star, or the Death Star 2.0, but something completely brand new and unique. Your on-the-job training is going well enough, though you almost accidentally kill some admiral or something. Then one day you're hanging out with your new First Order buddies, who keep referring to their supreme leader in a totally not weird North Korean-y way. You bring up the fact that everything around you just seems so derivative and unoriginal, but shrug it off. Maybe you just can't get over how badass Darth Vader was, you say out loud. Now there was the total evil ruler package. Then you hear it, the unmistakable sound of a lightsaber, with a totally not stupid cross hilt being fired up. You turn to look over your shoulder, and standing at the hallway before you is the tall, slightly gangly form of Kylo Ren, the supreme leader of the First Order. He asks how you dare compare him to Darth Vader. Only you could barely understand the question because through that thick mask you really can't tell what he's saying from further than like 5 feet away. With a heavy sigh, he removes his mask and you instantly wish he'd put it back on because now you can understand him better, but his voice just sounds all whiny and moody. Angered at your insolence, Kylo Ren raises his totally awesome and not dumb lightsaber and points it at you. You've done it. You've angered one of the universe's most powerful dark Jedis, whom you're polite enough not to mention gets his butt kicked by a girl who hasn't even had formal Jedi training. How are you going to survive this duel to the death? They say that talent skips a generation, unless you're a member of the Skywalker clan. In that case, it's apparently only evil that skips a generation. Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo as he was originally known, represented the balance between the light and dark side, though ultimately he would fall to the dark side, because George Lucas is completely original and never recycles old ideas into new, shinier packaging. Or was it Disney this time, or maybe J.J. Abrams? We'll just have to leave that question for another video. Ben Solo was born on the day that the New Order, the Galactic Empire, surrendered to the New Republic. This victory was of course achieved by a single member of the Resistance exploiting a lone vulnerability in the Starkiller base. The Death Star, right as it was preparing to fire. They say history doesn't repeat itself, it only rhymes, but in the Star Wars universe, it seems like they consider cat to rhyme with cat. Born to Han Solo and Leia Organa, Luke Skywalker's sister, Ben Solo was born with an incredibly high midichlorian count and showed an incredible aptitude for the Force from a young age. If, like us, you do your best to blot out Star Wars Episode 1 and a 6-year-old Anakin Skywalker from your memory, midichlorians are basically space herpes that give you superpowers, unlike regular old herpes, which just gives you sadness. Impressed by his aptitude for the Force, Solo's uncle Luke Skywalker took him under his wing as he raised a new Jedi Order from the ashes of the old. Given Ben Solo's predisposition for moody early 2000 emo bands such as A Fire Inside and My Chemical Romance, though, Luke sensed a troubling lameness and darkness growing within his nephew when he was a young man, and his father took him into the city to see a marching band. Getting a premonition that his young nephew would rise up one day and destroy everything he had built, Luke, acting in a moment of instinct, raised his lightsaber to cut his nephew down in his sleep. Because no member of the Skywalker family with a powerful connection to the Force had ever done anything bad to the Jedi Order in the past, though, Luke stopped himself at the last moment. But not before Ben Solo woke up and found his uncle creepily watching him sleep with a lightsaber aimed at his chest. Solo destroys Luke's temple in anger and buries the new Jedi Order along with it, turning to the dark side and joining with his master Darth Sidious, Snoke, and adopting his new black-masked persona of Kylo Ren. From there, Ren sets into motion a plan to conquer all of the galaxy as the supreme dear leader of the First Order. Despite his allegiance to the dark side, Ren's nature wavers between light and dark. He is, after all, the culmination of 2 separate lineages, the greatest of the Sith Lords and Jedi Knights alike. This leaves Ren extremely troubled inside, though he secures a step closer to the dark side when he manages to kill his father, Han Solo, by running him through with his lightsaber. Later, he goes on to confront a rogue stormtrooper and manages to get bested in combat by an untrained dumpster diver who's also talented in the use of the Force. Eventually, Ren joins forces with the galactic dumpster diver, and together they defeat Ren's mentor, Snoke. The dumpster diver, now on her way to becoming a Jedi Knight herself, senses that there's still good in Ren and implores him to join her on the light side. Unbeknownst to her, though, Ren used her to fulfill the ancient Sith rule of 2 and take Snoke's place as the most powerful Dark Jedi, and super supreme leader. Ren would eventually track Luke Skywalker down and lead a massive assault to rush the Resistance once and for all. In a one-on-one fight, Ren told Luke that after he struck him down, he would have finally killed all the Jedi. But as he moved in for the killing blow, it was revealed that Luke was projecting his image all the way from another planet, buying time for the Resistance survivors to escape. So now that you know your enemy, what exactly can Kylo Ren do, and what should you be expecting in a one-on-one fight? Ren may be a moody brat, but that's not entirely his fault. Snoke, sensing the great potential for both light and dark inside him, purposefully set his apprentice ablaze with emotional conflict. This made Ren a rather unique Jedi, as his great emotional conflict caused the Force to burst out of him in uncontrollable outbursts of power. Ren is an extremely powerful Jedi, and yet he is also extremely fragile, a fact that Snoke no doubt knew. In the end, it's likely that Ren's father Han Solo was right when he warned that Snoke would use him until he was no longer useful, and then he would discard him. Without discipline, Ren may be powerful but ultimately would be overcome by his own powers. This still leaves Ren with a formidable mastery of the Force, which includes various telekinetic attacks and defenses. He's even able to freeze a laser blast in mid-air and then release it at a later time. When he defended himself from his uncle's midnight visit, he brought down the roof of the hut he was sleeping on Luke's head, requiring a great deal of telekinetic might. He is also able to freeze his opponents in place and even force them to move their bodies as he wished. Ren is not just a master of body though, he is a master of the mind as well, and has powerful telepathic abilities. He's able to telepathically probe a person's mind to dig out their greatest secrets, a handy trick for use in interrogations. If the subject resists, he can simply torture them psychologically until they relent. He's also able to knock people unconscious with the wave of a hand. Lastly, as the son of the legendary Han Solo, Ren is an exceptional pilot. So how are you going to defeat one of the galaxy's most powerful Jedis? For once, you're going to forget about fighting Ren physically, because unlike Rey, you're not a main character who's important to the plot and you'll die instantly. With the ability to crush your throat from a distance with the Force or simply slice you into ribbons with his lightsaber, you stand literally no chance. We thought carefully about this though and originally had ideas on using some high explosives against the Dark Jedi Knight until we saw the scene where he stopped a blaster bolt in midair with his mind. The amount of energy required to stop concentrated photons in their tracks and keep them there is astronomical, literally. And we thought that in this case, explosives are probably going to not get you very far. Instead of fighting Ren with your hands, you're going to fight him with your mind. Remember who you're dealing with here. A Force sensitive who's torn between the light and dark side, murdered his own father. And even though it's 2019 hasn't yet heard the emo scene is like so totally dead. You don't have to defeat Ren, you just have to let him defeat himself. First, maybe bring up some happy memories of you and your dad. Because if anyone's got some serious daddy issues, it's the guy in the black mask who just murdered his own father in a failed attempt to connect fully with the dark side. Seriously, just tell Ren about some great father and son memories you have from your own life. Maybe the big fishing and camping trip you took when you were 10. Or about the time you did the Kessel Run together using a measurement of time and not distance. Really, just about any sappy father-son story is going to set Kylo on the edge, and likely get him really angry, but also super mopey and depressed. Right around this time, he's probably going to start going all Kyle with stepdad issues and smash his surroundings with his lightsaber in a giant tizzy fit. The masterstroke though will come when you introduce Ren to your new girlfriend. Who's that, you might ask? Oh, nobody, just a local dumpster diver named Rey you happen to meet. Seriously, Ren can pretend that all he wants is Rey for an apprentice, but he's not fooling anyone. He's got the super hots for her and it's clear as day. Listen, Rey's probably not going to be into it since, you know, she's training to be a Jedi now, but if you tell her your plan to defeat Ren once and for all, odds are pretty high that she'll agree to a few Instagram kissy face pics. Really, that's all you need, because Ren's about as unhinged as a dollar store screen door after a hurricane. At this point, all of Ren's emo-fueled rage is going to get the best of him and he'll probably end up a sobbing mess on the floor, to be honest. If he's not defeated yet at the sight of you and Rey making kissy faces at each other on Instagram, then just pop in a My Chemical Romance CD and give him some private space as he breaks down into angry crying. If you like this video and you want to see more, and we know that you did, then click on this video which is just as funny and even more entertaining, or this video which is also humorous and engaging. You will choose one though. You will click the video and watch it and enjoy it. See you next time.